everybody, and welcome to RiverCity-Media Beyond the Booth. I'm the Howie Chaney, along with Phil Harris, as always, Mr. QSB himself. And our special guest tonight is the coach. Let me give you the proper introduction, Coach Barbee. The back-to-back area champs of the North Sand Mountain Thunder and Herd baseball team, Coach Dylan Barbee. Thanks for taking the time, and congratulations, Coach.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the invite.
How does it feel to be back-to-back area champs?
Man, it's special. Took this job 4 years ago. Mr. Dustin Roden was a coach for me when I was at North Jackson as a middle schooler in my freshman year. He was the principal at North Sand at the time and reached out to me while I was in college and asked if I'd be interested in taking the job. He told me there's a really good young group, and then if I stuck with them, gave them some time, they'd probably be rewarding for myself and them. And man, he was right. It's been a fun 4 years. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's super rewarding. From a program that's historically not very good in baseball, and that's not any disrespect to the guys that come before us, because there's been some great ball players come through here. But as far as record-wise and just postseason history and things like that, there wasn't much history. And then to have guys that change that culture, change that environment, and really get after it and go to work every day, it's been super rewarding, man. It's been awesome.
Well, I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Let's kind of back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, and all that stuff.
Yeah, grew up in Stevenson, Alabama, Hogjaw, Alabama. Really, I'm an out of city limits guy at the foot of the mountain here. But grew up going to Stevenson schools, graduated from North Jackson in 2017, played ball there forever, played football growing up until about sophomore year, and then a lot of us stuck to the baseball route. We had a pretty special group. I'm a little biased myself, but, man, I had a couple of the guys reaching out just then that I played with, and it was a pretty special group. We ended up setting school history there my sophomore year. I went to the Elite Eight, and then my junior year, we went to the Final Four and ended up a game short the state championship series. Like I said, played there for 4 years, had a great time, loved every minute of it. A lot of fond memories of playing with my buddies there. Was lucky enough to have a scholarship and an opportunity to go play at what was Martin Methodist College in Pulaski, Tennessee. Since then, the University of Tennessee has bought it out. That happened my senior year. I was the first graduating class to come through. Pitched 3.5 years there collegiately. My senior year in the fall, I ended up having Tommy John surgery, and then shifted to getting my mind right for the coaching side of things, and got this job soon after the next year. So it's been a fast 4 years. It doesn't seem like I've been out of college that long, and out of the playing side of things, I've got some buddies. I'll go ahead and shout them out real quick. Sam King and Dakota Crowell, they'll send me stuff all the time of just photos and some of the videos we take after practices and stuff when, man, it was tough. But we all the time joke about how we'd quickly go back and run however many poles, how many sprints, whatever it may be. But, man, it was a good time. But this one, I miss playing, but, man, this side of the ball is it's a lot more rewarding, in all honesty. It's got to where it's I don't know, year by year, I don't know if I'd go back now. This one's it's a lot more fulfilling and a lot more rewarding on this side of the ball. So,
well, Coach, I tell you, we've done this for several years now, and I've never seen us hit this many viewers in the first 5 minutes. So you must be a popular individual up there at Higdon.
Man, I've tried to text everybody and say, come in here, but don't make me feel as nervous on here. So there's no telling. The communities of Higdon, Flat Rock, and Bryant, they've come to support me, and the guys like nobody's business. It's more so the guys, but I realized very quick, I think I got this job. I think I was 22 when I got the job, fresh out of college, and just wanting to make a splash, man. And I don't know if I should tell this one or not, but our first game, I won't tell all the details and all that, but our first game was at New Hope, and we're traveling with 8th and 9th graders and a couple of upperclassmen. I think we had, on that first team, we had 4 seniors, And I'll have to shout them out here in a little bit too. That first group was really special. We were all about the same age, and they could have quickly made my life really tough. Man, they didn't. They took me in. They helped me out with as much as they could help me out with. And man, I love those guys to death. Still, I'd do anything for them. But anyways, we go to New Hope, first game of my career, and we get into it. We get into it pretty big. The opposing coach and I, there was a blown call, this, that, and the other, just some baseball stuff. And I look up, and it seems like all of North Sand Mountains on the first base side, and it's just a wave of blue. And I mean, they're ready to roll. They're ready to roll. So having a big crowd, it's not a surprise on here. So it's good to see that everybody's tuning in, listening to some ball talk tonight.
Absolutely. And without everybody that's watching, you can, excuse me, some of you's making comments already, but if y'all have questions for Coach Barbee, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer some of them. So type them in and all that. Coach, something you may not realize is I graduated from Sylvania, but a few years ago, I was a volunteer assistant up there on the girls basketball team at North Sand Mountain. And I know what you mean as far as the following and the support that you get from the Bryant, Flat Rock, Higdon area. It is something that people just don't realize how big of a support that you can get from that area. Yes,
sir. It was the first year we made the playoffs. I looked up round one, and man, it was packed. It was packed here. It was it wasn't necessarily surprising because we'd had a good crowd all year, but it's like everybody come out of the woodwork that night, and they were crawling around. I say first round. We ended up hosting the second round that year against Lindsay Lane, and we ended up dropping that series. But man, it was awesome. That environment was great. It was great. It felt like people were crawling all over the top of each other out here that night. It was awesome. We definitely travel well. Anywhere we go, it can be 2.5 hours away. We've always got a crowd.
And you get a ton of support from the community as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bill, I'll open up the questions for you, buddy.
Okay. Well, Coach, I want to go back. You talked about you had left North Jackson, went to Tennessee Southern. It is now Pulaski, Tennessee, in case people don't know exactly where that is. When your career ended, Tommy John surgery, tell us a little bit about that. Was your goal to maybe try to make it into the next level?
No, not a shot. Not a shot. No. I was a crafty lefty. I was what you'd probably call a thumber. I was a junk ball type guy. In high school, I'm not the type to lie about how hard I was. That's my brother there. That's my brother. Look at him. I was a junk ball type guy. In high school, I was topping upper 70s. College, I ended up my junior, senior year, I was running into the low 80s. An occasional 84 in there, nothing much, but I was a lefty. I really relied on the changeup, curveball type stuff, and that's how I made my money there. I guess you could say making your money. But no, it was never a thought for me to go and play any ball. I never thought when I was a younger guy, you always grow up and you dream of making the major leagues. When I was younger, that was always one of my dreams, hey, I'm going to go play. But I know my guys, if they're watching, they'll give me some heck, but I'm a Yankees fan, man. I love the Yankees. I'm a diehard Yankees fan. Went to the World Series last year in New York. Live and breathe it. So, as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, I'm dreaming of putting on the pinstripes one day, rolling out, doing all this. But then reality hits you around 12 or 13, and you're like, nah. You're going to there's my man Kelly's a Red Sox fan. I knew they'd give me they'd give me a little flack for that. But I quickly realized that Major League Ball was not going to happen. My dad's not the tallest dude in the world. I'm not very tall. I knew it wasn't going to be for me. So, but even in middle school and early high school, I didn't even think that I was a college type player. I wasn't a bad player by any means growing up. I just didn't think that was a possibility necessarily. I had a high school coach, Coach Wallace, that was at North Jackson for 2 years when I was there, that really invested a lot of time into me, made me believe that was a possibility. And I ended up having that chance to go. I had a few junior college opportunities, but I felt like Martin Methodist was the best fit for me. I pitched 3 years there. Had an okay career, nothing great by any means. Pretty bad my first 2 years, actually. I got hit around a lot. My junior year was a fun year. That was the year COVID hit in 2020. We had a great year that year. It was one of the funnest teams I've ever been around. I think we ended up 15-3 right before COVID hit. We ended up being in the rankings. It was a super fun time, but the next fall I ended up tearing my UCL, like you said, and had Tommy John surgery. I'd probably, truth be told, been pitching with it for about a year leading up to that point. I remember around Christmas break, right before COVID, that my arm had been messed up all fall, and it didn't feel great. I was having to use a concoction of Tiger Balm, Icy Hot, all these random concoctions and ointments to rub on my arm to just make it through practices and fall games and stuff. It was hurting pretty bad during the COVID season, and then I took the summer off and waited until probably about 6 to 8 weeks before I got back on campus in the fall and tried to give it time to heal, and it was still there. But I knew it was my last year playing, and I'd pitched with it for a year prior, so I was like, all right, we got to toughen up and just finish it out. I ended up making it all fall and ended up pitching in our College World Series or Fall World Series. How a lot of college team in their fall, it's just we called it a black and red series. Our colors were black and red, so it was just the assistant coaches draft the team, one of those things. Then we have a best of 5 series. Winners get a dinner and the losers have to feed them type thing. And I ended up tearing it in game 1 of our Fall World Series. I think I pitched 3 innings, and that second to last inning I pitched, it was a little sore, but nothing out of the normal. It wasn't getting as loose that day. I was missing a lot of fastballs up, and I tried to pull down and get the ball down in the zone, and I felt it. The best way I can describe it is it didn't make a loud pop, how a lot of guys say, but it felt like my elbow exploded, and it felt like there was a hot knife in the groove of my elbow. So not a great feeling at all. I knew it happened instantly. I knew it was my last pitch. I'll be honest, there's not a lot, and I joke with the guys, and the people watching probably know how I am. There's not much that gets me very emotional and teared up in this world, but baseball is one of those things, and I don't know, it's one of those, everybody's time on the diamond comes to an end at some point. I knew that was mine as far as the playing side of things go. So it got me a little choked up, and ended up going to the doctor a couple days later. They ended up doing an MRI, telling me it was completely ruptured. I ended up tearing my UCL, which is the Tommy John, and I ended up also completely tearing my pronator flexor, which is the bundle of muscles that covers your elbow here and then runs up to your wrist. I completely tore that as well. So the first thing out of the doctor's mouth when they told me, because I was about to ask him, he said, there's no shot that you can pitch with any of this, no matter what you do to it. So I ended up having surgery shortly after. I believe I had surgery on November the 11th of 2020. And then did some recovery work. Probably didn't take it as serious as I could have as far as like the return to throw and stuff. I did all my therapy and everything, but it still hurts from time to time when I throw. The guys give me a little flack for that as well. Call me soft a little bit, but I can still throw it around a little at times.
Well, that's good. Well, Coach, I guess you knew when you was in college you wanted to get into coaching baseball. Who was your big influences on getting you into? Well, of course, I'm sure your mother was a big influence on you in teaching, but who kind of sort of got you into thinking of coaching baseball at the high school level?
Man, it's funny. Going into college, I wasn't thinking about coaching. Now, when I was younger, it was something that I'd bring up, teaching and coaching. And I'm not throwing him under the bus here by any means, but my dad actually, he's like, son, go out, go make some money. I don't know if you're vocal enough to be a coach, because growing up, I was shy and quiet, which I still am reserved. I got to get to know people pretty good before I really open up and start talking, which might come as a surprise coming onto something like this. It's not as bad now, but my dad was like, go make some money. I don't know if you're vocal enough. I was probably like 11 or 12 when he was telling me this. So in college, I was really interested into like law and things. So as a freshman, I went into school with full intent of going to law school after graduation, which I don't know if a lot of people know that or not. But I got into college and I sat there and I enjoyed it. The classes I was in. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go to school 3 more years after this. I don't know. And then I started talking to my mom. I was like, Mom, I think I want to go into teaching. And I told my dad, he's like, I think you actually would be pretty good for that. Like by the time I got to college, I was like, all right, cool. I ended up I changed my major into education and started to pursue the coaching route. And like you said, obviously my mom, like we talked about offline there, my mom's a big influence. She's taught for over 30 years. Like I said, I grew up in the classroom even before I see you laughing, Howie.
Yeah.
But like I said, she's been teaching for over 30 years. She's a big influence for me. She brought me to her classroom every summer. She used to, I'd work in the classroom with her, whatever she needed to do. I was doing that from the time I can remember, 4 or 5 years old. So she's a big influence. Like we talked about offline, I'll go ahead and I'll shout her out. She won Teacher of the Year at Marion County last year. She's at Whitwell, but she won Whitwell Middle School's Teacher of the Year and then Marion County Teacher of the Year as well. So she's pretty good at what she does. She's a big influence. As far as the coaching side of things, he's probably not in here tonight watching. I'll have to send him a text or something after this. Truth be told, Michael Wallace, he's probably my biggest influence on the baseball side of things. Without a doubt, the smartest baseball mind I've ever been around. He just knows the game better than anybody I've ever been around. I still call him all the time, asking him for advice. Hey, what would you do in this situation? I really don't know what to do here. What do you got for me? And he's always there to give me some type of advice, talk some ball, or whatever it may be. Michael Wallace is without a doubt, Coach Wallace is my biggest influence as far as baseball. Everything that I do here is a direct representation of what he did for us when I was in high school. The demeanor, my coaching style, everything. I owe a lot to that guy. Like I said, I don't get choked up about a lot, but that dude means a lot to me. Everything.
Well, go ahead and tell him why I was laughing because of what you're making the comment about your mom.
Yeah, I said offline that I don't know if I wanted to show my mom's age on here or not, but yeah, I won't name drop, or I won't drop her age on here, but yeah, she's been teaching for a little over 30 years a day, or I'm reading the comments, 30 years now, so she's seen a thing or two in the classroom.
Definitely so. Well, of course, she's a big influence on you, and I'm going to let you comment on this. You know, I think when it comes along, of course, your dad was an influence, and everybody knows this. If you're going to be a teacher and a high school coach, you don't do it for the pay, and you do it for the rewards, because you get so much out of it. But your mother being a teacher was kind of a groom to you, I'm sure. You think things happen to you in college where God puts you on the path He wants you to be?
Yes, sir. There was definitely some times in college when it was super rough, especially early on in my college career. You come from high school, and like I said, we were Elite Eight, Final Four. I had a pretty good high school career. I don't necessarily like bragging on myself any, but I was a fairly decent high school pitcher, nothing over the top. I would like to think I did my job. Going from that and going to college, it's a big shock. Threw a decent amount of innings as a freshman and sophomore and got hit around a little bit. Had to do some deep dives there. Had a lot of talks with the man upstairs. Is this really for me? I don't know if I'm cut out for this type thing. And on the school side of things as well, had some trouble academic speaking. Not a lot. I'm not a big math guy, and math was a little bit of a struggle to me. So ended up having a baseball and an academic scholarship to Martin my first few years, and had some struggle with some math classes. And I don't like to fail, so it was a struggle, and it was tough to adapt at times. And I had to do some soul searching there and see, is this really for me? And then that's kind of when I got led to, let's talk about it, and see what we can do as far as the teaching thing. So yeah, I definitely think that it was definitely all a part of God's plan. Leading me here was a part of God's plan. This place has been awesome. This community's taken me in. These people have taken me in. It's been quite an experience. It's been awesome. It's been a blessing, really.
Definitely. So, I want to talk about this because I know when you first come to North Sand Mountain, and you talked about this already, that baseball, I mean, there's been some great baseball players come through Northside Mountain, but, like you said, not like great teams. But the first thing you did when you come in was to try to upgrade the field, upgrade the facilities. I know you had your guys out there filling holes in the sand and, all kind of different things to get the ball rolling. And I'm wondering, Coach, if this in your first season didn't help you there where you had a lot of young players, and I'm sure it was a struggle the first part of the season, but you won your last 7 games your first year. Did that foundation you laid there and that 7 wins at the end of the year, did that carry over into what you have now? And I know you wanted to talk about the seniors on that team.
Yes, sir, most definitely. I got the job. I got the job. I didn't officially get hired until January of the following year. But in May, when school got out, they brought me in and basically told me, hey, it's yours if you want it. And then my first question to Mr. Roden and Mr. Wigley, who was the assistant principal at the time, was, when can I meet with the guys? And within about a day or two, we had a meeting. I got everybody's name. I ended up coming to summer workouts. We got some summer practices in. Like you said, we were really young. I knew we had some really young talent they're still with us. A lot of those guys, the guys that were freshmen that year are seniors now. The guys that were 8th graders playing for me are now juniors, so they're all upperclassmen. We had a few of those sophomores and stuff graduate last year, but that first team, man, it's really special because, like I said, I was 22 when I got the job, or turned 22 that season. I don't remember. It all runs together at this point. I know that sounds crazy, only 4 years into it, but I was very young is what I'm trying to say. And those seniors, a lot of them are only 3-4 years younger than me, which is a difference. But nonetheless, I'm a young-looking dude. I'm just now getting to where people say I look a little bit older maybe, but there's still a lot of times where if I roll up, people think I'm a player. But those seniors, they could have easily made my life really rough, but they didn't, man. Trying to think, we had 5 that year, and I'll shout them all out. We had Cross McBriar, Tanner Boatfield, Mason Smith, Jack Case, and Derek Bearden were the 5 seniors. And the year prior, they were on a team. A lot of those guys, a couple of them, were on a team that had won the area championship for the first time since 1990, maybe. So they had won the year prior and won some games, but they'd also graduated like 11 to 12 seniors that year. They were very senior heavy. And then 3 out of those seniors my first year ended up playing just because they liked me when I showed up to summer workouts, so they wanted to play ball for me. Like you said, we started out pretty rough. I think we started out 0-8, 0-9, got a win in the county tournament against Woodville, ended up losing to North Jackson, something to something in the semifinals. But we'd won a game, and it kind of got the ball rolling. And like you said, we ended up winning 7 games in a row, I think, to end the season, ended up being 8-10. Those seniors could have easily quit on me and, try to make it a ha-ha funny year and all that, but they didn't. They showed up to work every day, worked really hard. Showed the young guys, those 8th graders and freshmen, even the sophomores at the time, like, hey, this is how we go about our business. And that's rolled for the last 3 years, and it's we're slowly but surely starting to turn this thing around a little bit, win some ball games, create some hardworking young men that get after it and play the game the right way. So it's been a fun time. Those first seniors and all the guys that I've coached, man, I'd ride for them any day. They mean the world to me. Anybody that stuck it out with me for these last 4 years or had some part in the shaping it how it is now, I would do anything for them right now. Still talk to a lot of those guys. If I see them out in town or whatever, always stop and talk to them. Love them all to death. So it's I can't say enough about that first team that got this thing rolling, because like I said, they easily could have made it really tough on me.
Of course, when you first come in, you're a very young guy, because a lot of times, especially you come in as an assistant, maybe assistant football, when you start, you automatically, you're the head baseball coach. Who were some of the teachers or coaches that helped you? I know Coach Kirby was the football coach at the time. Of course, he's in administration. Cole Hicks is around. Who are some of those that helped you kind of sort of get you adjusted to coaching? Because you were a young pup. I mean, you had it's eyes wide open when you first come in and took the job.
Yes, sir. Obviously, like you said, Coach Kirby had the football job here. spent a lot of time with him in the summer at summer workouts, just seeing how he did things and how he worked with the guys and things like that. Coach Hicks was the basketball coach for a while when I was at North Jackson, so I was familiar with him, knew how he went about stuff, really respected him there, had a lot of buddies play for him, spoke very highly of him. He does a good job every year. I still think he does a fantastic job. Watch what he did as far as summer workouts go and see how he handled things. Jeremiah Haynes, the girls coach, who does a fantastic job. I saw how he went about things. He's a very hard worker. I'll shout him out too, man. I think Jeremiah Haynes is one of the hardest working dudes in the state, regardless of sport, regardless of whatever classification that dude gets after it. Those three, just watching them, how they went about things and seeing how they ran successful programs. Like I said, I'm not the most outspoken guy until I get to really know people, but I do sit back and watch, see how things are ran, see what I like, and apply that to my program. And then also, like I said, my high school coach, Michael Wallace, I leaned on him quite a bit early and would call him and would revert back to things that he did with us in school and, try my best with some of that. And like I said, that's how I run my program really is modeled off him. I joke, and there's probably a few people that know, not a lot of people, but literally, and I don't mean this in a lie way, literally everything that I do on the baseball field as a coach is probably modeled after him in a lot of ways. So, which sounds a little crazy, but at times I would say the way I talk, some of my phrases, way I stand, he was a guy that was very heavy on the details. And a lot of people probably didn't realize he did even the smallest of things the way he did. It could be the music playlist for the innings, certain song for this inning, the way he stood, the way he talked, the way he wore the uniform, his hat. All those things were very calculated for him. And I took note. I took note of that. And so far, it's served me right. I've been blessed with a very, very good group the last 4 years as far as players that have bought in, and they're very talented. But as far as the coaching side of things, he's for me, he's the standard as far as baseball goes.
So I'm going to say that by listening to you talk, you are a big guy on focusing on the little things and detail.
Yes, sir. They might have tuned out already, but it's every little detail. It all matters. It all adds up from the moment we roll out of the locker room for one, which is probably a little messy right now. I have to get onto us, but we've got photos and stuff of how the lockers are supposed to look. They know on game days that we're checking to make sure that belt's lined up perfect. We're not getting off the bus in anything but the uniform and everything tucked in. We're looking the part when we get off the bus. When we start rolling into the field, it's everything down to the very littlest detail most of the time is very well thought out and calculated. I'm a firm believer in the smallest of the details will be exposed in the biggest moments. So if you're not, and it sounds cheesy, there he is, that's one of my guys. It sounds cheesy, but even those minor things that are often overlooked by people, whether it's the uniform, whether it's how we go about our pregame stuff, the way you walk on the field, all this stuff that nobody else notices. And I joke with them, like, the baseball people see these things. This is for the baseball people. This is for the people that show up and actually watch the game, not your girlfriends, not whoever that's just coming to cheer you on because you're at North Sam, but like the baseball people. They notice these things, and we're firm believers in that. I'm a firm believer in that. I hope my guys – which a lot of times they are. I'll give them credit. They are. They've bought in, but they know those details, and that focus and that attention is what really sets you apart. And how you go about those day-to-day things is the separator. Everybody works hard. Everybody does the same stuff. You show up, you practice 5-6 days a week. You're here from after school to whatever time in the evening. People show up in the mornings for 2 days just like us and hit at 6 a.m. There's people that do that around the state, but your attention to detail and how you go about that work, that hard work, is the separator. So we've got some talented guys, but we joke about it. And this has kind of been our thing this year is we're nobodies from nowhere. At the end of the day, you're just a dude from Higdon. you're just a dude from Higdon. There's not a lot of people that know who you are, man. You gotta get to work. We don't have any D1 dudes on the roster. You've got to show up and put in the hours and put in some work. So that's been our thing for 4 years. Is just you got to outwork people, and every bit of all the details, every last one. Whether it's the way the cleats look, the belt, the uniform, it better be straight. Every little thing, it all matters. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you play how you dress naturally. And I'm sure you make this spill over in the classroom too.
I do. There's probably some – there we go, Ironman baseball. There's probably a few people that might say different, but I wouldn't say I'm your typical high school history teacher in Jackson County like how you were talking about earlier, some local stuff. I take my job serious. I really enjoy it. I'd consider myself somewhat of a smart individual, not a dummy by any means, maybe not an Einstein, but fairly knowledgeable on some things. So I take pride in the classroom. It's not just to show up and open up your book and write some definitions and stuff like that. So I do enjoy the teaching side of things quite a bit. I take pride in that. Like I said, I think I'd be doing my mom a disservice and her legacy to treat it any different. So it's kind of a respect thing for the kids that I teach, because obviously it's my job to educate them, but it'd be a disservice to how I was raised by my mom and my dad as well to not give anything other than my best. So.
Yeah, great teacher. Great teachers make great coaches naturally. Yeah, and that reminds me of a story one time. I've been in radio for about 33 years, and I was at a Valley Head football game, and one of the assistant coaches was sitting there, was around, and after the ball game was over, and I said, Coach, I noticed on one of the kids' players' pants, the stripe is coming off his pants. And he said, you noticed that? I said, yes, I noticed that. And he goes, well, it takes people like you to notice things like that for it to change. I said, Coach, I'm going to tell you something right now. I've been around this a long time. I said, I shouldn't see things like that. Fans should not see things like that, because, that's bad. These kids should have great equipment to work with, and they should look good when they walk out on the field, because you want them to feel good about themselves.
Yes, sir. That's a big thing. It's probably obsessive and at times overkill as far as some of the details. I don't know of I'm sure there's people that know. If you show up to our games and stuff, like I told you guys offline or off air, I should say, my mom does a lot of the music and stuff. Every playlist that we have, whether it's pregame, post-game, top of the first, bottom of the first, top of the second, every song's played for a reason, whatever it is. And we've made lists and stuff where she knows exactly if it's a certain mountain visit, if it's a whatever, if it's all scripted, the attention to detail there, every last thing. So, it's at times, like I said, I'm a little bit obsessive over that stuff, every little minor detail, where it drives me crazy if it's not right. At times I get bad and I probably need to relinquish some of my game day stuff to people, but man, I'm very picky. I'm very ornery about how things need to look, and it's gotta be perfect, I guess. And my guys replicate that fairly well for high school dudes. I'll give them credit. They match that energy a lot. So it's one of those things where it started out slowly and gradually when I first got here, but now by year 4, it's one of those things I joke. It's somewhat on autopilot. These dudes could run out and run it themselves at this point. I feel like I don't even have to say much. They just know. So it's which is very rewarding and gratifying to me to have guys that I can trust that much and just roll out, and man, they can run it. They can run it for sure.
Yeah, because I'm sure when you first took over, it was a coach-driven team. Now it's a player-driven team, and they know all those things. They just get used to it, and and so it don't bother them anymore. And that's where your leadership from your upperclassmen comes in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, Coach, let's talk about this. Of course, last year you got to the second round, I think you beat Holly Pond in the first round, lost to Red Bay in the second round.
Yes, sir.
And, there's some good baseball in North Alabama, and Mars Hill was probably the best team, but I don't think y'all were very far away from competing on that level. Definitely, I know that. This year, you come into this year. Let's recap this season. Of course, you start off in the first round of the playoffs playing Belgrade. Let's recap this season, and tell us how the season went, and then talk about some of the guys personally. What they've meant to the team, and then then we'll go a little further from there.
Yes, sir. So coming into the year, we had a roster of about 18. Had some basketball guys that were iffy that hadn't played in years past, but talked about wanting to come out. Ended up not coming out and playing. Had a few others not with us for other reasons. We ended up with a roster of 12 on the varsity team. And out of that 12, we ended up having 2 get hurt. We had a freshman end up having an arm issue in January, and he was out till the start of March. He's fine now. He's having a great year as a freshman. Dude's playing very well for an underclassman. And we also had a junior end up getting hurt during wrestling season and really hasn't gotten full speed with us until like the last month or so. He was playing in spurts coming back from his injury. He's one of our guys that's been with us for a while, an upper class leader. And he was hurt for a while, but now he's running with us full time. Not playing his primary position, but still rolling out and doing a pretty good job for us. But there for a while at the start of the year, it was down to 10 dudes. I didn't know how long the 2 injured guys would be out. We had another one. I forgot to mention a sophomore. He actually had hurt his knee a little bit in basketball season. He didn't get cleared until March. So we were down. We ended up having to bring an 8th grader up for a while that wasn't necessarily ready for varsity baseball, but had to step up and do a job to give us a little bit of depth. Got to the point where I was asking anybody and everybody in the hallways that wanted to play baseball for us because it's just a down point. The junior high classes, there's a ton of kids that play baseball in those classes from 5th through 7th grade. There's a ton of guys that play, but there's a little bit of a lull in the freshman and sophomore classes here, which is fine. The junior high guys, there's a lot of good athletes in that group. But our numbers were very thin early in the year, and which we had a good core group, and we still do, obviously. But there for a while, I didn't know if we were going to have enough to make it through the season. I was about to have to call up some 7th graders and roll them out in varsity games. And we rolled out to Shelby County game 1, which Shelby County is a perennial power in 5A. I think they've won their area however many times in the last 5 or 6 years, made the Elite 8 a couple times. They're a good ball club, and they're pretty good this year as well. And we roll out and just get drummed. I mean, they beat us any which way they wanted to. It was fairly close early. I think through the 4th inning, it was a close ball game, maybe within a run or two. We ended up scoring first and hit them in the mouth a little bit, and they hit us right back. Those big teams that are good, they punch right back. It's not your smaller classification teams that just they'll let you come out and do all the punching. They punch back, and by about the 5th inning there, they punched us quite a bit and gave us all we wanted and ended up beating us pretty bad. And after that game, man, I didn't know what the year was going to look like. It was rough sledding there, but we got right back to work. That was on I think that was on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure we came in between church services on that Sunday, and we had a little talk, had a little get right, talking about the season, and got back to work on Monday pretty good. Ended up winning a few games there early. I think we ended up starting the year out 5-2 after that. We had a loss in Birmingham to a team that no disrespect to them, I'm not going to say their name on here. They played good ball that day. We didn't play good ball. They played well enough ball to beat us that day. We ended up splitting with them. It's a team now that I'd like to think that we win just about every time, but they had our number that day, so hats off to them, and they got us. And that was a turning point for us after that, like, hey, you can't just roll up and expect to win games. So we ended up rattling off 13 straight after that. I think we were in the spring break at 18-2, playing some good baseball. And it's crazy to say you never want to lose games, but I knew the playoffs were getting close, and it had been a while since we lost. So over spring break, and I purposely did this, going out and scheduling some tough teams, I wanted somebody to punch us in the mouth and make us like it a little bit. And that happened quite a bit on spring break. We ended up dropping 4 games on spring break to very quality competition. We ended up going to Deschler, who was a preseason number 1 in 4A. We ended up playing them to an 8-6 game. We started a little bit late, got the scoring process started a little bit late, but played a fairly respectable ball game with them. Wednesday of that week, we went to Choccolocco Park for their spring break ordeal. Ended up dropping two games to some quality ball clubs. And then on Friday, we played Pell City and ended up dropping a game 4-3 to them. They ended up winning their area in 6A this year with Oxford. We dropped a game 4-3 to them, and we're right there with them to the last pitch. My man Landon Keller, that's been in the comments tonight, the Red Sox fan, sadly, he pitched a heck of a ball game against them. He took him the distance for 7 innings, and we just ended up a run or two short there when it was all said and done. And then we went to Collinsville on Monday, which I think you guys have Coach Helms on tomorrow. Him and Coach Willingham, they do a great job with those guys. They've got a roster loaded with studs. We ended up splitting with them on that Monday, which anytime you can take one from those guys, that's nice because, like I said, they can swing it, they can field it, they can pitch it. They're good. And then Saturday we concluded our season, our regular season at Coosa Christian. Ended up jumping out to 4-1 lead early. Had some things. I'll wear that one. I did a bad managerial job on that. Try to ride the starting pitcher a little bit too long and didn't get into the bullpen quick enough and ended up giving up a lead. The pitcher was making good pitches for us. He ended up their Coosa Christian made some really good adjustments on the off speed and started going backside on the soft lefty. He might get a little mad I called him a soft lefty, but I gave him a little hard time because I was a soft lefty too. They made a good adjustment, and I just didn't react quick enough, and we ended up getting beat 6-4 by a very quality. I don't know if something – oh, there we go. It lagged or something there for a second. But I ended up getting beat 6-4 there against a very quality opponent. There he is in the comments. There's Luke, the lefty there. So we ended the regular season 19-8. I know that's we dropped some games there in the last 2 weeks of the season, which I hate to say I expected. I would like to have won some more of those games. I knew we'd lose some games in those last 2 weeks. Truth be told, I didn't expect 18-2 to start the year. If I'm being incredibly honest, I expected a couple more losses sprinkled in the mix there, but these guys proved me wrong time and time again. And then played some really quality teams the last 2 weeks, and ball didn't shake our way as much as we or didn't bounce our way as much as we wanted to. But we've got a couple of losses under our belt. Now we're ready to get back to winning some ball games, and everybody's 0-0 right now. So there's no rankings, there's no wins, there's no losses. Everybody's 0-0, and it's a fresh slate. So we've got smacked in the mouth a little bit the last 2 weeks. Now it's time to get back on the saddle and start winning some ball games consistently.
Well, Coach, I do want you to discuss some because the guys love hearing their names. I know they do. I want you to discuss them. Well, but I do want to talk about right quick before you do that because I want you to, talk about your players. But playoff time, it's Bell Green in the first round of the playoffs. And you and I know if you're going to make a deep run into the playoffs, pitching. And,
yes,
of course, I know that's a big thing for you. I think that's a big thing for this program is you being a pitcher. There's a big emphasis on that. And to be successful in the playoffs, you've got to have a 1 and 2 good, solid starter and probably even a pretty good 3, a guy in that 3 hole also.
Yes, sir. As far as pitching goes, we've got some arms. I'm pretty nitpicky at times. I'd like for them to fill up the strike zone a little bit more than they do. They're guys that have went out and they pitch well for us this year. A few of the last few games have gotten away at times. We're just, and it's one of those things where I'm glad it happened when it did. You'd rather it happen in the regular season than the playoffs, and it exposed some things that I knew would get exposed at some point for us, not getting ahead in the count early, not able to get your off speed in the zone and get ahead with some off speed. Because good teams, man, I mean, if the only thing you can get across the zone is a fastball, good teams hammer the fastball. So you've got to be able to pitch backwards. You've got to be able to throw the breaking ball in counts that you're behind in, stuff like that. So we've put some work in on that. We've really talked about getting ahead in the strike zone. But as far as arms for us, I mean, we're fairly deep. Our area starters this year have been Luke Reed, that lefty that's in the comments. he does a great job. You always know what he's going to do on the mound for us. He fills it up, 3-pitch mix, fastball, breaking ball, changeup. He gets ahead. He's very savvy on the mound. He knows how to pitch, and he gets outs. As far as our other area starter, as far as the first 2 games, Carson Harvey, that dude's got after it the last few years. He's a 6'3", maybe 6'3", 6'2", 6'3" guy. He's something 6 foot. Everybody seems tall to me, but he's pretty tall. He's got a good frame on him. He's really developed his body the last few years, and we're going to get after it this offseason as well in the summer and continue to develop his body. But he's gotten some muscle mass on him. He's a big frame. He gets down the mound well, and he's really developed. Last year we had an injury with one of our other pitchers that I'll mention here soon. But he stepped up and ended up being an area starter for us there last year, a game 2, game 3 type guy. And really it was his first year that he started to pitch for us. He threw some JV innings the other 2 years, but it was the first year we really put a heavy emphasis on him pitching and developing that side of his game. He did a great job last year. He was more of a – and he'd probably agree with me in saying this – he was a little bit more of a thrower than a pitcher last year. But he did a good enough job to get us some wins and get us some outs and stuff. And he had a great year as a sophomore. The guy's been lights out this year. I'm gonna knock on wood here, but I'll brag on the guy. He's developed very well. And that's like you said. I was a pitcher. We put a lot of emphasis on player development. I probably need to do a better job on the hitting and the fielding side of player development. Like you said, I'm a pitcher and I love it. I nerd out over it. We've got some fancy tech and stuff that takes the guessing game out of some of these things. We've got a Rapsodo machine. It takes all the guessing out. It makes it where it's super easy, my job, and we can just show them the data and, hey, this isn't doing what you want it to do, and it doesn't mix well with the fastball. Let's try this out. Let's change your grip and let's do that. So he's developed a really good slider. He's developed a great changeup, and I think he's through 45 innings for us this year, and he's still under a sub-1 ERA. So he's been getting quite a few outs. He's been a dog for us this year on the mound. Landon Keller, that was just in the comments. Like I said, he threw well against Pell City. He's a basketball guy, so we ramp him up a little bit slower than some of the other guys that are with me baseball full time as far as the throwing things. I made that mistake last year. I rolled him out a little bit too much too soon on the mound. And he ended up having a little bit of a back flare up last year, but we've taken our time with him this year, and he's throwing some good innings of baseball for us as of late. He's a guy that I feel really confident in, rolling out and getting some outs in the playoffs. Another guy that's on the mound for us, another lefty, Mikey Poss. He was a guy that, man, when he was young, goodness, you got a young team, but with Mikey, it was never really an issue. He'd roll out as a freshman, and I mean, he'd give it to a lot of people as a freshman. He ended up having an arm issue a couple summers ago and had surgery as well. Last year he was a DH/first baseman for us and did a great job at the plate. And he does a great job on the mound for us as well. He's a long, lanky lefty, almost a Chris Sale type, if you know who Chris Sale is, that made his money with the White Sox and Red Sox for a few years with the Braves now. Mikey's a long, lanky type guy like that, kind of a 3/4 cross-body type throw. He does a great job. He does a great job for us. He throws quite a bit of innings. Brayton Johnson, another senior that throws for us. Keller, Mikey, and Brayton are all seniors. Brayton does a good job out of the bullpen for us. Freshman Cooper Pierce throws a lot of bullpen innings for us. Junior Jackson Burgess, it's his first year pitching for us. He throws the ball well. He comes in, does a lot of trying to put him in the closer spot this year and roll him out in games like that. And we've got another sophomore that's really stepped up at times this year. He ended up keeping Deschler to a one. He came in relief when I thought the game was away from us and ended up keeping Deschler to one hit through the last 3 innings of the game and gave us a shot to rally a few runs across and make a shot at that game late. So that's really our pitching staff. I don't think I was missing anybody there. They all do a great job. Like I said, at times I'd like for them to fill the strike zone up a little bit more, but they do a great job. As far as the offensive side of the ball, I'll just go down our lineup, really. My man Jackson Stiles, he's a senior for us. He's my fourth senior that I haven't mentioned yet. He's transitioned into an outfielder for us. He plays center field, and he does a great job. It's a guy that's a lot of energy, high motor on the kid, never quiet, which I love. He's batting in the leadoff spot for us this year and has done a great job. He's actually gonna get a shot to go play some JUCO ball in Illinois, where his family's from. I told him I'd shout it out on here. He sent me a text. I always get the name wrong. I know it's in Illinois, but I'm pretty sure it's Harrisburg. Where we at? Southeastern Illinois College is what it is a JUCO. But he's getting another shot to go play 2 years of ball there, which is fantastic. He deserves it. He's a hardworking kid. He gets after it. And he's doing a great job for us at the leadoff spot. Normally, Luke Reed, that lefty, hits in the 2 spot for us. He's a lefty bat. He's a jack of all trades type guy. Bunt, hit and run, slash, you name it. He's done a great job out of that spot for us. In the 3-hole most of the year, Carson Harvey hit for us. He's an RBI guy. Get those 2 first guys on, give us a sack fly type thing, ball in the gaps. He's done a good job. Mikey Poss has been our motor at the plate this year. I feel like that's safe and fair to say. Everybody does a good job by all means, but Mikey Poss, man, he's had a year at the plate. I'm not sure what his numbers are as of the last couple of days, but he's still north of 400. He's probably getting closer to 40 RBIs now if he hasn't already got there. Just a great approach to the plate. Sees the ball well. And just gets it gap to gap and does a great job. In the 5 spot, Landon Keller, he's been doing a great job for us. He's got quite a few RBIs, gap to gap guy, another meat of the order, heart of the order type guy that does a good job for us. In the 6th spot this year, the last month or so has been an 8th grader. It's Levi Burgess. He actually stepped up for us. His brother has been our starting catcher for the last 3 years since his 8th grade year at the varsity level. He's the guy that had a little bit of an injury during wrestling season. So his 8th grade brother stepped up as a catcher this year. He's primarily a corner infielder, but he's got behind the dish as an 8th grader. I think we've played 27 games. He's went behind the dish 27 games, and he's gotten a lot better as the year went on. I thought after game 1, I was like, oh, my goodness, this might be rough. But hats off to that guy. He gets to work. And as an 8th grader, he's hitting 300-something. He does a great job. And for a while there, he was top 3 in RBIs. I'm not sure what he is now at times. When we're playing good, I try not to get obsessed with the numbers because at times I do. But he's done a great job. In the 7th spot this year, a lot of the times his brother's hitting now, Jackson Burgess. We call him Burger. It's a redhead. Kid's a great player. He ended up having a little injury there on his knee, and he's been playing right field and first base for us primarily this year. He gets after it. Like I said, he's primarily a catcher, but he's filled in other spots this year, and he's been hitting in the 7 spot for us. In the 8 spot has been my man Brayton Johnson. Kid, just a competitor. He's just a competitor. I can't say enough about the kid. His freshman year, I shot him straight his freshman year. Like, man, we got to get to work with you. You know, if you want to really crack this lineup and be one of the mainstays in the lineup someday, you got to get after it. And he did. The kid's worked incredibly hard. I can't say enough about the kid. He's worked so hard. And has been a starter for us the last 2 years at second base. And he's moved over to third base at times when Carson Harvey pitches this year. And he's done a phenomenal job for us playing second and third. So that's a kid that I'm really proud of. I'm proud of all of them, but Brayton Johnson, seeing him grow and become what he's become for us now, it's awesome. And in the 9 spot for us has been a freshman, Cooper Pierce. Cooper's primarily he'll play shortstop for us going forward after Landon Keller graduates. This year he fills in at short and second when needed, but he primarily plays the outfield for us, does a great job, and he's done a phenomenal job at the plate. I like to put a guy in the 9 spot that's a little bit of a jack of all trades, can get us to the top of the order, kind of a second leadoff ordeal. He does a great job. He's skyrocketed up in a lot of our numbers, top 3 in a lot of categories for us as a freshman, so he's having a great job. And then our guys that are our role players, they've done a phenomenal job. Like I said, when Berger was hurt early in the year, we had 2 guys filling in every other game. They kind of on a rotating type basis. That's Parker Mastron and Jackson Langster. And it never was a thing where we were missing much of a beat. We were winning a lot of games. They were playing the outfield for us. Parker would play some first base as well, and it was never missing a beat, really. And those guys show up and get after it every day. And like I say, great role players. Never have to question if they're locked in or anything. If it's late in the game and I call on them, whether it's base running, whether it's a defensive sub, it's never, hey, you better be locked in type thing. They're ready to roll. And then our last guy that we have was hurt for quite a bit of the year from basketball, a little bit of a knee injury there. He's slowly but surely starting to get back with us, and it's Creek Higdon. Creek does a great job for us as a base runner. Does a fantastic job. Like I said, he just got rolling a little bit later this year. He's an underclassman. He's a sophomore for us. He's going to have a big future in this program in the next few years. He's a hard worker. He's a great kid, and he gets after it. So that's our 12 guys on the varsity roster this year. They're 12 dudes that I wouldn't replace with anybody. They're some of the hardest working guys around. They're guys that would play anywhere you put them. They're winners. They're winners. They're hard workers. They're guys that you don't have to wonder about what they're doing. A lot of times if you come up here on the weekends or in the off season, late at night, whatever, you come up to a hidden facility, you come up to the field, somebody's here. It's one of them. They're working. They're getting something done. So it's all 12 of those guys, which I've had them. This is my fourth year, like I said. All 12 of those guys. I mean, those are 12. Those are 12 that I would ride for any day of the week and do anything for. So they've been a joy to coach this year and the last 4 years.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you one more question. I'll turn you over to Howie. You
Yes,
got Bell Green coming in. Do you know anything about them, of course, and you can tell us a little bit so that folks out there may know what they're going to see when they see Bell Green come in on Friday. Now, I know you have to turn in a time request for when you're going to play, which is Friday, probably a doubleheader.
Yes.
Please let everybody know about, what the game times are on Friday, and then there'll be an if game on Saturday, and also ticket information.
Ticket information. I need to get that out myself. I need to playoff time. There's no telling. It's GoFan. So I think GoFan. I think I was looking at the state website. It's either $10 or $12 on GoFan. It gets up there. I know you guys were talking about that with Gaddis last night, which he was saying. I think his price might have been a little bit low. I think it's closer to the 10 to 12 side on GoFan, which the state's got to get their cut. I get it. But game times on Friday we play at 4:30 and 6:30. The if game on Saturday will be at 2 p.m. As far as Bell Green goes, I need to reach out to a few more teams and see what they think about them. From everything I can tell, they're a fairly solid ball team, receiving some votes in a lot of the polls. So obviously they've caught the eyes of some of the sports writers around the state. They've also caught the eyes of the Prep Baseball Report guys in the state that I think do a phenomenal job covering high school baseball. David and Austin Sharp. They do a great job. So they're receiving votes in both of those polls. They're obviously in there with Mars Hill. Like you said, Mars Hill is a very, very respectable ball club, perennial powers in the lower classifications. Bell Green was in that area with them. So record-wise, I think they're 11-10, but they've played some really good ball clubs. It's not like they're playing cupcakes every day of the week. They're playing some good teams. So I expect them to be very well coached. Their coach, I believe, is Coach Vincent. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's Coach Vincent. He played a couple years at Wallace State and ended up playing at UAB. So I expect him to be very well coached, do a lot of the small stuff right. It's gonna be a war. Like I tell my guys, if you show up to the ballpark expecting to put on a show, you're going to be locked in for a war for 7 innings. But if you are locked in and get to the ballpark and expect a war, you're probably going to end up putting on a show at some point. So we've got to be locked in for 2 7-inning wars come Friday, and then if the if game happens, we've got to be ready to roll for another 7. Because at this time of the year, like I said, records don't matter. It's everybody's 0-0. Everybody's got one goal. Everybody wants to play for another 4 to 5 weeks. So records are out the window. It's always tough to win ball games this time of the year. We've learned that the last 3. Nothing's a given. You've got to treat everybody the same, which is what we're going to do. We're going to treat them like they're the best team in the state and go from there. So I've watched a little film on them. I've watched a couple of their games, see some things that I like that we can maybe we can take advantage of, but I see some things that they do really well that we're going to have to make sure that we're on top of. So it should be a fun series. Like I said, game times are 4:30 and 6:30 on Friday. We should have a really big crowd. We've had some facility improvements, so I hope everybody comes out and sees those.
Well, I'm sure, Coach. I guess I'm going to guess that you are very confident in your team. You know, the stretch at the end where you had some adversity, and the kids need that because at one point you were pretty well dominating everybody, and they do need a little adversity, especially in baseball because things can change in an instant. And I think playoff experience is going to be a huge advantage for you guys too.
Yes, sir. That's a good thing. They have been there. They've played some very quality ball clubs the last few years. They played a fairly tough schedule this year. At times, some teams maybe weren't as good as we thought, but they were playoff teams last year in 3 and 4A and stuff like that. And we were just playing really good ball at the time. So that's not necessarily a knock on some of the teams that we played, but we've also played some really tough competition this year, spring break, the last 2 weeks as well. We went and played Sell Creek in Tennessee. I think they're a top 5 team in their classification in Tennessee. Went like 25-5 last year. They're a very well-rounded ball club. They threw one of their guys at us. So we played some tough competition this year. And then, like you said, we've been in the playoffs. This will be year 3 for us in the playoffs. So the guys have been around some tough environments. They've been in tough ball games. Now it's just, let that experience show and come out with 2 wins and prevail. Because, like I said, this time of the year, it's tough to win ball games this time of the year. Everybody you play is a tough opponent. So, but I do like your odds. I really do like your guys. I'd take them against anybody.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, Howie, turn loose.
Coach, while you're still on your team, talk about some of the – you can't do it all. So talk about some of your assistant coaches that are helping you out.
Yes, sir. So my first 2 years, I'm glad we got back to this because I was going to have to cycle back to it at some point. My first 2 years, my assistant coach was Nelson Poor. He was in the comments earlier. Nelson's he's a realtor. I think he's licensed in Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia. So if anybody needs to buy a house or some property, I know a guy. He's one of the best in the business. So if you need some property or a house or something, get in touch with me. I can get you in touch with Nelson, and he can get you lined up. Nelson was my assistant my first 2 years. He's a younger guy like me. Nelson was a year younger than me, or still is a year younger than me. I guess age doesn't change like that. But Nelson did everything that I needed him to do. He ended up having a kid. Nolan's 2 now. So once he got a kid, he had to slow down a little bit, but he's starting to get more and more involved. I believe he's helping with the football staff this upcoming fall. So hopefully we get Nelson and his wife Heather and Nolan rolling around at the school again a little bit more often again. Love Nelson to death. His brother Niall was in here in the comments too, so I'll shout out Niall. Love that family to death, man. They took me in my first couple of years up here, made me feel right at home, and helped me out with everything. My assistant right now is Matthew Ogle. Ogle's from Plainview originally, was the baseball coach at Valley Head for the last he was the baseball coach at Valley Head for a few years, about 3-4 years ago. He ended up coming to North Sand last year. Nelson had other obligations. So I was scrambling for an assistant there, and Ogle got hired on to help out with the football staff, but I knew he was a baseball guy at Valley Head, so got a hold of him. He was in the middle school hallway at the school, so I made a trip down to his classroom and asked if he'd like to help out a little bit, and he agreed to help, and man, he's been a big help too. So he anything I need, Coach Ogle does. Just a great guy to be around. Fantastic leader for us. Great role model for the kids, as was Nelson. Nelson still is as well. A lot of the guys, myself included, I mean, Nelson's still a part of this program. He might not be helping out physically on the field, but Nelson's just as much a part of the success as everybody with us now. So he's a part of that OG crew with us. So I mentioned this today. Anybody that's ever been loyal to me and helped me out and took me in and made my life easier, I'll ride for them for the rest of my days. So I can't say enough about Nelson Poor and Coach Ogle. They've been such a big help the last 4 years during their time helping me out. And like I said, Coach Ogle's still helping us. And then Nelson, he's still a great help in the community. He still helps out the school. Like I said, he's rolling back into the coaching staffs up here. Just great dudes. Can't say enough about them.
Your season ended Saturday, is that correct?
Regular season, yes, sir.
Yeah. What are you going to do this week since you're not going to play again until Friday? How are you going to keep your team focused, I guess you can say?
Yes, sir. I know a lot of people will play a Monday game or a Tuesday game this week, which I see the benefits in that as well. For me personally, though, when you get in the season, you get into the heat of the season, right in the middle of it, it's time to get in because, I like to try to rest guys. And when we're playing 4 games a week, at times it can be hard to get rest and recovery. We like to lift during the season, make sure we're taking care of our bodies so our bodies don't break down. So it's at times it can be a tough mix on how we juggle some of that stuff. So I like the week of the playoffs to be a week where we can really get in. If we've been struggling for something for a couple of weeks, now we've got a week to really sit down and iron it out. We can really put a lot of focus on that because when you're in the middle of the season, I mean, a lot of times we're playing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday type thing. Wednesday, we're letting guys out early for church. Friday rolls around and end of the week. And don't get me wrong, we definitely practice. But like I said, when you're playing 4 games a week, at times you got to take care of guys' body. It's baseball season. We don't play as many games as the pros, but like I said, when you're getting into the playoffs and you're playing 30-something games, and then these guys are also playing a summer schedule as well, where they're playing 30, 40 more games. I mean, it's a marathon. So I'm not in the business of abusing kids and trying to ruin their careers. Because I've got a lot of guys that are gonna play ball after North Sand Mountain. I don't want to abuse them and overuse them when they've got futures themselves. So it's more rewarding for me to have these guys and know that they've got a shot to go off and play somewhere and do big things. So we try to take care of them as much as possible. So I like to use this week going into the playoffs to, hey, we need to work on this. I saw this the last couple of weeks that we really need to iron out. Don't get me wrong, during the season, we'll address those things at practice, but this gives us ample amount of time going forward, and it gives us more time to prep for the opponent that we actually need to prep for. So it just gives us more time to get to what we need to do. As far as staying focused, guys will throw live tomorrow for us to make sure they're getting their bullpen in for the week. So we'll see live pitching from pitchers tomorrow, and then the pitchers will obviously throw to batters. So as far as the live part of it goes, we'll still see live this week.
Okay. Enough of being in the hot seat there. Too many serious questions for me. I can't handle all this serious stuff. So let's take you a drink, relax for a second. Let's get to know Coach Barbee a little bit.
This is the portion that we talked about off air. I hope I'm locked in for this one.
Well, I've got different questions for you tonight, though. Since you already knew the questions, I'm curveball.
Bring a baseball.
Yeah, you get the curve.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm throwing some junk up there like Greg Maddox used to do.
Here we go.
Yeah, he may be throwing you an ephus.
Here we go.
There you go. Yankees fan, Jeter or Rivera?
Oh man, that's tough. That's a position player and a pitcher. It's like picking siblings or something. I don't have any kids, but I'd imagine that's like picking your kids against each other, which are obviously older. Jeet's the captain, but Rivera's, it's a Sandman. I'm taking the easy option. You can pick at me all you want, both. I'm taking the easy way out. It's position players. Now, if you just said Jeter and A-Rod, that'd be a little bit different. It'd be a little bit different. I love A-Rod, but I'd take Jeter in that situation.
I can't give you easy questions. You're a young fellow. You can handle this hard stuff.
It was C. It was C. All the above.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. History teacher, what's your favorite part of history?
Right now I teach world history. It's not ancient world history, so it's 1500 to present, and I also teach US 1. That being said, I like ancient Civ. I enjoy that stuff. Roman Empire, Greek Empire, things like that.
That's back when Phil was a kid.
There you go. Yeah.
So you mentioned it 2 or 3 times, how the belt has to be hanging or whatever in the locker room. How does the belt supposed to be hanging?
All right. So you say that our lockers, they have like hangers and stuff in the back. So during the season, I've got to get on them a little bit more than when it's the beginning of the season. Everything's fresh and clean in there, which they do a good job of upkeeping the locker room. But at times I have to kindly remind them to fix those things. But yeah, we've got there's papers in our hanging on the whiteboard in the locker room that show us everything. I'm laughing. Coach Lipscomb that you guys might have on in the next few weeks. He just rolled in. He's looking at me from below the balcony, so I'll shout him out. He's a good dude.
I've talked to him. I think he's going to come on for spring football here in a few weeks.
I've seen him down there. He's laughing at me. He might make a guest appearance. I'll bring him on here in a second. He's walking up. But as far as like the stuff, we put it up before the season. Uniforms, practice pants, whatever you have is on a hanger and it's hanging in a certain spot. We know where our bag's supposed to be in the locker. Your cleats, your shoes are under your chair in your locker. The belt's hanging up on a hanger. When you get off the bus, it's one of the last questions before you roll off that bus. You better make sure your belt's on straight. It better not be sideways, crooked, however you want to describe it. That the jersey, the buttons better line up with the buttons of your pants. It better be perfect with the belt buckle. It's kind of at times it gets a little over obsessive on the details, but I'm a firm believer in them. So,
hey, what happens if a player forgets something on a road trip?
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. What would happen?
We had that one time my first couple of years. I ain't going to say his name. You might comment, but they don't play. They had when I was in high school, Wallace, my coach, the bus was leaving at, let's say, 2:30 one day. 2:30 meant 2:30. Our starting second baseman pulled in at about 2:29 and was walking to the bus at 2:30, but the bus was rolling and we did not stop. So that's how I was coached. That's how I was raised up. So those details and things like that, that's what happens. If you're not ready to play, I can't trust you that day. So having your stuff means you're ready to play. So we're pretty picky about that stuff. They know not to get off the bus and flip-flops or slides or hey dudes. I'm a hey dude hater. Flip-flops and the hey dudes, I'm a hater. Don't bring them into the weight room. Don't wear them in our facilities. Wear them on your free time. Wear them at school. Don't wear them to anything baseball. Look like a baseball player. Look the part. So they know not to get off the bus in cowboy boots with their pants tucked in and things like that. We want to look the part. We want to look like ball players. You can dress however you want when it's not ball time. So that's how we go about it.
Some of your players are raising their hand like
That's a couple. Yeah. Those are a couple of guys that might have made a mistake at one point. Yeah.
Cloud's Pizza. What's your favorite meal there?
Probably the lunch meat and three, whatever day it is. The meat and three on any given day is good, but the cheese sticks are always a classic. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great people that runs and owns that place as well.
Great
Big supporters. Great supporters of Bison. So we'll just go ahead. I'll go ahead and ask you some of the other questions that you've been kind of studying for, I guess you can say. Start with pizza. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
I think so, yeah. I enjoy pineapple on pizza. I do.
Pineapple belong on a hamburger?
I don't mind it. Swiss cheese and a pineapple slice. Bring it on.
Oh,
hey, I like pineapple with fajitas.
Who we got in the background there, Coach?
That's Coach Lip. He's hanging around. I'll bring him. Lip, come up here.
Special appearance. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, appearance. Here we go.
Hey, 2 for 1. Yeah.
We appreciate your time. Didn't mean to keep you this long, Coach.
No, you're good. I enjoy it.
It's great. It's great having you on. And I've never seen this many viewers live at one time. I don't know if you owe these people money or what. Or,
I don't know. There's no telling.
You paid them to watch, or I don't know, but we need to have you on more often. So,
hey, Coach.
Coach Jay Lipscomb for everybody.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, Coach, get ready. He's going to be on here before long.
Be ready. We're going to have you on around spring football now.
Well, I'm not going to be as good of a guest as the legend right here, but I appreciate it.
This guy's full of it here, man. You got to watch him sometimes. He's full of it.
We try to get right to football. We ain't there yet.
He does a great job. He does a great job. He's a great dude. He's got to get out of here. He's making faces at me now.
So Dylan, I will tell you this, how I kind of sort of got the idea about getting you on, and I'm sure you go in the place tonight, is up at Dobbins. Me and Joey was talking about you one day, And I thought, well, I need to reach out to him because, we were talking about what a good season y'all are having. Because to let you know, I mean, I would work for WQSB, but I also drive for Frito-Lay. So I'm in the town a lot of times. So I was noticing, I was going to ask you about this. There's been a trucks around the baseball fields. There's something going on now we're trying to get worked on?
Yes, sir. So one of my, and this is not I can't take credit for this at all. A lot of this is our booster club and people in the community that support us. We have great parents. One of our things that we wanted to accomplish when I got hired here was upgrading the facilities and making this a place that kids could really be proud of and take a lot of pride in playing at. I felt like the baseball side of things, and it's not just here. It's sad to say, but I think baseball in the northeast portion of the state is oftentimes overlooked and is neglected, which, it's that way a lot of places in Alabama. I get it. There's other sports that are primary above baseball, which is fine. I'm never going to root against anybody else in their sport. But like I said, I am a baseball guy. So it was one of our goals to provide our guys with as many possibilities and experiences as possible through facility upgrades, whatever it may be. We've got a pretty good hitting facility, very good size. When it rains, we split it with softball, and it's got more than enough space to take ground balls, hit, throw, whatever you need to do in it. We put turf down this summer, quite a bit of turf. We've remodeled our first base dugout. It was a little tent over here essentially the last few years, and our parents worked hard on it and got the funding to expand that to where it can house a team now, an opposing team, because in years past it's been embarrassing in the playoffs. Lindsay Lane rolled in a couple of seasons ago here in the second lane, and they had 15 guys sitting outside the dugout because they couldn't fit. They brought like 25 dudes, and they couldn't fit everybody. So stuff like that, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly, because, you want teams like that are perennial powers in your sport. You want a little bit of respect, but when they roll up and your place isn't great, so, it's just at times it can be a little embarrassing for me at least. So like I said, we like to look the part. So we've done some work on the field. We have a new playing surface as far as the dirt goes. We got that last year before the season, so our dirt's very well. It doesn't hold a lot of water or anything. Great playing surface. And then to get to what you were talking about, over spring break, we did have some new lights installed. Our old lights, we had them shut off a couple times the last 2 seasons, so it's been a little bit of a mess there. And a couple of the poles around home plate were deemed safety hazards by the state and the county first, and then the state. There were a couple of woodpeckers that had taken a liking to these poles over the years. So the pole by our dugout was essentially hollowed out, and you could fit a basketball from about 3/4 of the way up to about 1/4 of the way down. So they were deemed a safety hazard by the state, and they decided to install us some new lights, which are awesome, by the way. I think Phil saw that on the line, if I remember saying correctly. But they are pretty awesome. If my camera on my computer works here in a minute, I might turn them on if I stick around a little bit, which I know it's getting closer to time. But I think there is a video online of them, so they're pretty cool. Friday will be the first time we get to use them in a game. The guys are looking forward to it. It's just like I said, though, we want to provide them with the best possible high school baseball experience as possible, and eventually make this one of the premier small schools as far as baseball talent-wise and the experience goes. So we're going in the right direction with that stuff so far, and it's not a me thing necessarily. I can't take any of the credit for it. We've been blessed with great kids the last 4 years. The parents and the community have been like no other. Anything that we need, they've got it. And if I say names, I'll forget somebody. And that's not what I'm trying to do here. Any parent that's been in this program for 4 years and that's stuck around with their kid and really invested a lot of time, hats off to you. Hats off to you for bringing your kids and raising them the way you did, and giving us basically everything we need. I'd also like to thank, and I'm publicly thanking them here because it means a lot to me for what they've done for our kids here. I'd like to thank Mr. Roden. Mr. Roden has helped us out quite a bit, which he was the principal here. I'd like to thank our superintendent, Jason Davidson. He's a great help. He was one of my teachers in high school as a freshman. Anything whether it's school, whatever. Mr. Davidson is always a big supporter of myself and our kids everywhere in the county, not just here. I don't want it to make it seem like it's one-sided. He does a great job for everybody in the county, as well as Mr. Roden. And I'd also like to thank Mike Matthews, who I grew up playing ball for. I played with his sons. He's with our county as well, and they've been a big help for me. Not just in my professional career, but just growing up as well. Like I said, Mr. Roden was one of my coaches. He was the head baseball coach when I was a 7th, 8th, and 9th grader at North Jackson. Mike, I grew up playing for him and grew up playing with his sons. And then Mr. Davidson, like I said, was a teacher when I was in school. So they've all molded me in some way more than they probably realize, both in my younger years and as a professional. So I can't say thanks enough to them. And then, like I said, my parents that are here and everybody that just pitched in, community members, whoever it may be. So there has been quite a few improvements here at this place, and it's slowly but surely turning into a place that is no longer kind of that Sandlot type feel. It's got a nice homey feel to it, small town, small school type thing, but it's slowly starting to see a lot of improvements, and that's been through the hard work and dedication of a lot of people. I can't take any of the credit for that.
And I guess a lot of that you're talking about is the Diamond Club.
Yes, sir. Our booster club, our Diamond Club, does a great job. Yes, sir.
So being a baseball man, the next question I'm going to ask, superstitions. Did you have any when you played, and do you have any now?
Yeah. When I was
or
playing,
routines. Some people don't like the word superstition. So
superstitions, bring them on. I'm not scared of the word. It's a word. In high school, yeah. In high school is bad. Oh my goodness. I threw very soft, but for whatever reason, I wore Nolan Ryan socks every time I pitched. I guess it turned my 76 into 78 my sophomore year, and my 77 into 79 my junior year. Wore those in high school. Also, when I pitched, I would wear the same 3/4 sleeve shirt, and then since I was a lefty, I had a shirt that said something about lefty pride. So I would wear my 3/4 shirt. I would wear my lefty pride shirt over that, and then the jersey. So I was wearing a ton of different things. Would wear those every start day that I pitched in high school. In college, it wasn't as much. My pre-pitch routine, I guess you could say that, which I know pitchers are all creatures of habit, so we all do the same stuff, like every pitch it feels like. So my pre-pitch routine was, I guess you can consider that a superstition. Like I had to do the same stuff, but it becomes just an unconscious thing when you start doing it. Usually on game days, it's a little bit different in college, but I'd have to have an energy drink, have one of those, and then by the end of my playing career, I'd have to have some Tiger Balm and that concoction. I don't know if that's a superstition or that I was just trying to take my broken pieces up and go out and play for a little while longer. But as far as now, my day-to-day is kind of the same. On game days, I don't really have any just got to. It used to be that I had to chew gum every game when I was playing. I forgot that. I had to chew gum every game. I had to do that when I first started coaching. I did that as well. I don't do it as much anymore. I've got to have my stuff just right that I'm wearing and things, which it's nothing fancy or anything, but for me it's just how I wear the stuff. I'm sure all coaches say this. I know Gaddis said it yesterday. It's kind of some you time, getting away, get your mind right, because I'm a competitor. I don't get to play anymore, but I like to be locked in and just ready to go. Fun, and if the guys are still here, I see some of them rolling out about to hit under the lights and stuff, but if there's any in here still watching, we started one last year. We joke, we go to the gas station across the street, and we were over there, and they were getting snacks and stuff after school, right before the game, like Gatorades and stuff like that. And I ended up joking around with them and got like a pickled sausage, a Tijuana Mama. I don't know if you guys know what a Tijuana Mama is, but a pickled hot sausage. And I was joking with them, like, I'm going to get one of these, And I had it, and I ate it, and we ended up winning that evening. So I was like, all right, cool. We played Saturday against somebody, and we lost. And I was like, Didn't eat that Tijuana Mama, and I didn't think nothing about it really. But Monday rolled around, and we went to South Pittsburgh, who was a good ball team last year. They ended up making the Final Four in their classification in Tennessee. Great ball team. Yeah. But anyways, I ended up getting a Tijuana Mama before that game, one of those pickled hot sausages, and ate it. We ended up winning a close game 2-1. So from there, it just for the next couple of weeks, the Tijuana Mama was the thing. The guys knew about it. It was every game. Like I had guys buying me 2 or 3 Tijuana Mamas every game, and I probably shouldn't say this one online, but the Tijuana Mamas did not like me. They didn't like me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that superstition at all. I'll just leave it at that since we're online talking in front of people. But I tried to get that one out as quick as possible. That was more for the guys. And they tried to do it this year again. I was like, you guys can win without it. And luckily they started winning without it. So I didn't have to suffer that anymore. But at Collinsville, we were on that little skid there of 4 straight losses. And then we ended up losing the 5th game to Collinsville in a row. So I had one in my bag actually. And we ended up all sharing a Tijuana Mama at the Collinsville game and ended up winning game 2. So we didn't have one Saturday in Gadsden at Coosa Christian. So maybe the Tijuana Mama's back. So we might have a couple of Tijuana Mamas Friday before the Belgreen series.
I love it. Coach, I love it, man. A couple more questions. We'll get you out here. I'm sorry about keeping you so long tonight.
No, this is awesome.
A couple more. We'd love to have you back.
Yes,
after you win that blue trophy. Come on back,
Yes, sir.
But we want you to bring the trophy on here and look through it and do the interview that time.
Yeah, they are clear now. They are clear now. Yeah.
Since they're clear. So a couple more quick questions and we'll let you get going. Favorite music?
Favorite music, man. When I say this, I honestly mean it. I can get down with anything. You play some yacht rock, you got me. You play some 70s, 80s, a little bit harder rock. That's my dad's type stuff. I say harder rock. He likes the Eagles and things like that. Some Skinner, I can get down to that. I can get down to 90s country. I can get down with these guys at times when they're playing their rap and stuff. If I'm going to concerts and stuff, I like a little bit of more of a – you guys probably aren't familiar. You might be. I don't know. I don't know what you guys listen to as much, but like a little indie folk, an indie rock type thing, a little bit of a smoother type stuff. I enjoy that quite a bit. So don't necessarily know if I'll drop a list because I do enjoy music quite a bit, but I can get down with just about anything. You cut it on and I can get down and listen. Probably know a lot of songs. I always joke with the kids in class and stuff. I like what you like and like what your parents like and probably like what your grandparents like. There's on our pregame playlist, our pregame stuff before anybody gets to the ballpark, probably around 3:15. The first song is Frank Sinatra. The second song is Jimmy Buffett. So, I mean, it's everything. It's everything. The Sinatra and the Jimmy Buffett, man, I wouldn't feel right without mentioning it. There's probably only my mom and her siblings and people real close to me know why I play that stuff. But every year I've been here, I've played some type of Jimmy Buffett before people get to the ballpark. It's just a way for me to remember my grandparents. My grandparents passed when I was younger. My grandma is the only one that got to see me play any high school ball, and then she ended up passing as well. Younger into my high school career, I think I was a freshman. My dad's parents passed when I was 4 and 8 years old, so didn't get to experience them as much. But my mom's dad loved Jimmy Buffett. He was a big Parrot head. They're Italians from Tampa, so they loved Sinatra. So they play one of his songs that they played at his funeral was "My Way" by Frank Sinatra, and that one that stuck with me ever since that moment at his funeral. Just did it my way, man. If you're gonna do something, do it your way. And that's been a big thing since I've been here. It's going to be my way, not in like a overpowering or anything like that, but there's going to be no question about it when I lay down at night or when I'm old and retired. Like, I'm going to know that it wasn't dictated by anybody else. My failures, my success, anything. There's going to be people that played a big part in that. By all means, I'm not downplaying any of that, but it was going to be my way, and I'm not going to have any regrets on any of it. So that's a little bit why the Frank Sinatra and the Jimmy Buffett play before games. It's a way to remember my grandparents, both sets of them. Just remember my grandparents and where I came from and things like that. So, but yeah, music, love it to death. My brother plays some tunes. He picks the guitar a little bit. I have no music talents whatsoever. I wish I did. My brother, he can pick and sing a little bit. He's not too bad. So he got all the music talent in the family. But I love to listen to it. Love going to concerts and stuff.
Coach, I'm going to end it right there. That's great. I love hearing that about the grandparents. A lot of kids just don't realize how much your grandparents are really going to mean to you. And some people, I only knew one of my grandparents out of all of them. And so anyway, I'm going to end it right there. We always close out by letting the guests give shout outs, which you've been giving shout outs the whole thing. So is there anyone?
Can I ask one question? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Yes. You're a young guy. You hadn't been out of college very long. Is there a significant other?
Yes, she commented earlier. I didn't acknowledge it because of the comment it was. I think she said goat. I wasn't going to acknowledge that, but it's Cortland Cuellar. I think she was in the comments somewhere.
There was, yes.
Yeah. Cortland and I have been dating for 2 years now, going on 3. So she's been with me every step of the way, just about up here. So she's great. She's awesome. I'll shout her out up here too. I just didn't acknowledge the goat comment. I think she's with her grandparents right now watching her. She was earlier. Her granddad's probably still in here. He's a legend in his own right. He's a Coleman County Hall of Famer. Goodness, what all did Eddie coach? I think cross country. He's a part of a lot of those baseball state championship teams in Coleman. He's a legend in Coleman County. Like I said, he's a Coleman County Hall of Famer, longtime coach, great dude. So I'll shout out them as well, the Cuellars and the Lawrence family. So yeah, I think I've shouted out just about everybody. I hope I didn't leave anybody off, but I'm super thankful for everybody up here, everybody that's got me to this point in my life, that's helped me out anywhere, in any step along the way. I'm super grateful for everybody. I hope if I left somebody off that they don't hold it against me too long. They can corner me up, shoot me a text, whatever, and tell me that I left them off. But I appreciate everybody that's got me to this point, that's helped me along the way. And I hope for their continued support. And like I said, we play Friday at 4:30 and 6:30, and then the F game Saturday at 2 o'clock. I hope everybody on this mountain's up here getting this place rocking. It's a special place at night. It's a special place at night, and this time of year, it's really special. It's been a great atmosphere the last couple of years when there's playoff baseball getting to be played up here. So it's been really fun.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on. Sorry we kept you so long, but
no, this is
enjoyed every minute of it. We do want to have you back on, and maybe next time you'll be a little bit more open. And you say you're a little bit shy, so maybe next time you'll be more open with us.
I've gotten a little bit better in my older years. Like I said, when I was younger, you probably couldn't have got a word out of me on here. So I've enjoyed it, fellas. This has been really fun. I didn't know what to expect. I've never done anything like this. I was a little nervous at first. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think I sent Phil a text earlier asking about the link and stuff. This thing, I was a little nervous. I talked about it to a few people, but it's been super fun. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully, I haven't sounded like too big of a fool on here, but this has been a good time.
Hey, you sounded great, and I've been keeping up with the views, and the smallest amount we had was in the first 5 minutes, and ever since then we've had quite a bit since then. So I don't want to say the whole town of Higdon's been watching, but pretty close to it, man.
It's probably pretty close. Yeah, it's probably pretty close.
We've had a great viewing tonight, and thanks for joining us. For Phil Harris, I'm the Howie Chaney, and for excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat, but for Coach Dylan Barbee of the back-to-back area champs North Sand Mountain baseball team, this is Beyond the Booth. Good night, and God bless everybody.